Hello and welcome to In the Light, Growing Your Soul with me, Anna Isabel. And I am delighted today to introduce my guest, who is Akikazu Nakamura. And he has with him his assistant, Aiden. Good morning and welcome to you both.
Hello, I'm very glad to be here and then I'm very glad to take part in your program.
Well, it's a pleasure. Now, you are in Japan, just so that our audience knows where you are. And you are here today because you've written a very thoughtful and fascinating book called Breathing with Misoku. And so I guess a good place to be would be to ask, what is Misoku?
Mhm. Missoku is a Japanese traditional way of breathing. And then that is a lot of good point. And then also I'm thinking about the Japanese culture was made by this breathing.
So this is a breathing technique that is a real part of traditional Japanese culture.
Yes.
How did you come upon it? Is it something that is still a part of daily Japanese way of life, or is it something that has kind of been forgotten and that you've rediscovered?
Mm. There are two ways. One is I was very interested in Japanese culture, especially Japanese traditional culture. For example, shrine or temple or many kind of fine art. And my father taught me many things, but we found Japanese culture is very different from other countries, even Korea or China. And then Japanese culture has a very special features. So I always wonder why Japanese is so special and so different from other countries. And that is one thing. I kept thinking about that. And then, secondly, I found my teacher's teacher playing very silently, and then we cannot recognize where he inhaled. And then his breathing keep wrong very, very much. And my teacher said that is a very special breathing. It's called missoku. And then so I tried to investigate about that. And I asked many people. And then at last, one Zen monk taught me about that. So I way of mm, watching or thinking of the Japanese culture is getting different. I understood many things from that, and also for my music, music totally changed. So I wanted to write some book for everybody who is interested in Japanese culture.
So if I understand correctly, you you were aware. So when you were talking about a teacher, is this one of your music teachers? Because you play a very special instrument. So tell us about the instrument first, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Mm. Japanese shakuhachi is five holes and then vertical flute. But the most different part is in shakuhachi, we can change the tone color or overtone a lot. So sometimes like a very pure tone, like a sine wave, but until the pink noise or white noise, like a shh, this kind of noise we can generate. So it's a very rare.
So you're for people who are already aware of toning in healing, you'll understand what overtones are and how unique it is to have an instrument where you can actually be playing overtones and, as well. So this is very special. And if I understood you correctly, it's when you were working with your music, when you're with your instrument, that you just became aware of a particular teacher who was able to take very long breaths. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, very,
And
very
this is
much.
how, and this is how you then discovered that there is this unique breathing technique.
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
that's. I think it's very interesting that you are making a very clear connection between a way of breathing and some of the aspects that Japanese culture traditionally has been best known for. So maybe we need to understand more about what this breathing is and what it's like, because in your book you talk a lot about the posture, and that it is actually different from other breathing techniques that we are more familiar with in the West. So tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, this breathing derived from the Japanese lifestyle or how to work in the field. So Japanese rice paddy field is in the water, so it's unstable. So we have to hold the knee. So it means we have to tilt it down the uh, pelvis and the sacrum. And then, so if we tilt down the pelvis, it's a little bit difficult to contract the abdomen. So we have to keep expanding. So if we keep expanding, the breathing is totally different. So always abdomen situation is the same, and then inhale and exhale, inhale, exhale. So just moving diaphragm only.
So instead of breathing from the abdomen, you're breathing from the diaphragm. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Well, that's very interesting because you know usually when we think of taking deep breaths, we want to expand the abdomen. But what you're explaining is that working in the rice paddy fields, it meant
Mm,
that that was not possible because the position makes it impossible. So therefore, people just naturally started to breathe more from their diaphragm.
yeah, yes, you're right. So outside of the body doesn't move at all. So it's in a very calm, and we can inhale, out, exhale, inhale, exhale, and then we can breathe in a lot of air in a one time and in a very short time, like this.
You, so this is, I find this fascinating because you then talk about how changes in lifestyle have meant
Mhm.
that this breathing techniques pretty much been forgotten, something that was natural that just came to people. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of been lost. Tell us what you feel. I mean, obviously, people are now living more sedentary lives. They're in offices, they're sitting in different positions. So, what do you feel has happened um, as a result of the change in the breathing patterns of people?
Yeah. Actually, body doesn't move, and then we can inhale in a short time a lot of air.
Bless you.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It means we can live in a calm very much. So not so active, not so aggressive. Always our mind is very stable, and we can stay in a calm very much. So our mental health is going very well. And then also if you go into the forest, you can feel all the air coming into your nose naturally and then going out naturally. So it means we can become the part of the forest. It means we can become the part of the nature, and also we can be the part of the cosmos. Mm. So it means we can not only we feel not only myself, we can collaborate and we can be together with other nature or cosmos, or universe, and then so our situation of the mind is totally different. So when we playing shakuhachi, if we doing abdominal breathing, probably my way of playing is very expressive. So please listen to me. I'm a very great, or like that. But if I'm playing with this missoku, I can be the part of the forest or nature. So we can um, take that music together, and then we can have some kind of good part of the nature together.
I absolutely love that. I think that's so beautiful. From a technical perspective, really, what we're saying here is that in a time when breathing was, as you describe it, with this beautiful missoku technique, that people were living more in the parasympathetic part of the nervous system rather than the sympathetic part of the nervous system, which means that they were calmer. And
Mhm.
the beauty of what you've just said is that in that state of calm, the connection to nature is so much stronger, and that you can feel much more a part of nature and the cosmos because you're more tuned into it. And we know this to be true because, one of the classic things for meditation is to slow down the breathing and it's essential to get into that part of the nervous system that is not running on adrenaline and that is calm. And now you added another element here which I think is absolutely crucial. You've said that if you're playing your instrument and you are playing with your breath coming from the abdomen, it's much more about the ego.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're breathing from the diaphragm in the missoku way, then you are more in tune with with nature and with the universe. So it's less of an egocentric way of playing, and it's more about perhaps expressing something of the world through you.
Yes.
I
Actually, mm, actually, it's a kind of express to the world or universe. Mm. So actually, like a Zen style calligraphy or Zen style garden doesn't say strongly anything, but a lot of meaning, a lot of way of watching. It's affordable. Mm. So we can eh, provide many kind of meaning art. That is a good point, I think.
I like that as well because what you are reminding us of is the level of focus and concentration that is required for these traditional Japanese art forms, like the calligraphy and the style of gardening that's also Japan is very famous for. And you're saying that in order to be able to have those skills, it requires a level of concentration, it requires a level of focus, which means it requires a level of stillness and calm
Mm,
that can only be developed through, I'm just going to call it very calm breathing.
mm. Yes, you're right. If you develop our sense much more, the best way is train the breathing. If we train the breathing very much, we can go anywhere. So one example is um, parasyn- parasympathetic system. We just humankind can control by the breathing. So missoku is much easier to control parasympathetic system more than the abdominal breathing. Because if we move the abdomen, uh, the stronger system come out. So if we doing mm, this missoku, everybody can be in a stillness or a calm situation.
There's something also that you mentioned in the book, which I think is very interesting. And it is my experience that as calming as taking deep breaths, and filling, from lower down in the abdomen is, it can also get quite tiring if you're doing it for a prolonged period.
Mm,
So I thought that was interesting. Whereas this system, it cannot be tiring because it evolves from a time in which everyone is hard at work. It is, in fact, what enables them to have the stamina to continue for long periods of time is to be in that, I think, somewhat awkward position, actually, of bending and having to keep that position for a long period of time as you're working with the rice. So this is, I think, possibly easier to maintain and to adapt in a habitual way.
mm. Actually, this missoku is much easier than abdominal breathing because we don't need to move any part, any outside part. If we doing abdominal breathing, we must move the abdomen a lot. So if we'd like to do a deep breathing, it, it makes us very tired. But missoku, abdomen doesn't move at all. So air can come into our body naturally and then push and then exhale naturally. So we can keep doing whole day. But when we sleeping, usually we doing abdominal breathing. But when after you wake up, you can keep doing this misoku all day. Mm. So at first, probably the posture is a little bit difficult, but make the pelvis down, it means much more stable. Pelvis up means it's very easy to rotate and then move, but it means unstable. But if you make the pelvis down, the our skin and muscle was pulled by the hip bone, so it's really difficult to rotate and move. It means very stable. So if you thinking about the angle of your body, you can get a very easy position. And then so it makes you very easy to breathe by misoku.
So this is down to the actual position of the body.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not a sitting up straight so that everything is open and you're able to take the deep breaths. This is different because you're actually leaning over and the pelvis is tilted downward. Is that correct?
Yeah. Actually, if you make pelvis up, you can do a misoku, but not so much air. But if you make the pelvis down, you can get a lot of air, almost for as much as possible by your body.
So it feels very natural.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I like it very much. So do you feel that there is a renaissance of understanding about Misoku in Japan, or is this something that is very forgotten and you feel like you're just kindling, just relighting the fire and hoping that it will catch on again?
Mm. Actually, almost of all the animal is doing a misoku, but some part of the humankind try to do abdominal breathing, but Japanese obeyed the animals. So I think this is a fundamental technique for humankind. So I hope all the humankind remember the way of breathing, misoku, like animal, when they were animal. So if take that part in their life, probably everybody's life is getting richer. For the culture or for the playing music, for the talking or singing or everything. It's good.
Indeed. And I love that you've pointed out that animals have not forgotten.
Mhm.
Because they don't think, they just act. They just do what they are naturally, what feels right to them. And it wouldn't be the only thing that we look at animals and go, that might not be a bad idea. So it's nice to because um, it is significant because it is a demonstration of how natural
Mm.
it all is. So I like that very much. Um, Aki, I just want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to meet you and then talk to you.
I'm hoping that our paths will meet again.
Yeah, I hope so. Mhm.
And a reminder to everyone that the book that we have been discussing is called Breathing with Misoku. The link will be in the description box. And Aki, if people want to learn more, and there it is, you've got a copy right there. If,
Mhm.
if people want to learn more about your work and your music, how do they do that?
Oh, I'm teaching by Zoom. So from the Sweden, from the United States, from Australia, many countries, many people are studying missoku and also shakuhachi playing.
Wonderful. So how can people find out how to join your lessons?
Mm. Please mail to my office.
Okay. So is
Can send
there
you the links. We can send you the links for our website and our Instagram and Facebook pages from
fun?
which you can sensei directly.
I will make sure that all the links are in the description box. Thank you, Aiden. And thank you again, Aki.
Thank
Thank you.
you very
And thank you all for watching. Next time, we're going to be looking at intuitive herbalism. Do remember that in the description box, you will also find links to my own websites as well as my Substack. Until next time, goodbye.
much. Bye. Thank you.